Level 1. The Altar Boy. The bell rings at 6:15 every morning in Santo Stefano, a village of 340 people, and you are the one who rings it. You are 9 years old. The cassock they gave you was sized for a boy 2 years older, so you roll the sleeves twice and pin them with a safety pin your mother keeps in her coat pocket for exactly this reason. The church smells like beeswax and old stone and the particular smoke of incense that clings to your hair until Tuesday. Don Marco, 61, has been the only priest Santo Stefano has ever needed. He shows you how to hold the thurible so the chain doesn't burn your knuckles. He shows you which candle to light first. Your mother sits in the third pew, left side, every single morning, a rosary of 59 wooden beads wrapped twice around her left hand. One bead near the crucifix cracked clean through, glued back by her own mother 40 years ago. She never tells you why she comes every day. She just comes. The test arrives on a Tuesday in Holy Week. You are carrying the processional candle down the center aisle, 300 people watching, and the wax runs hot over your thumb, and you do not drop it. You do not even flinch. Don Marco looks at you afterward the way a man looks at a good dog he's decided to keep. The other boys are trying out for the regional football team that same afternoon. You are in the sacristy, folding linens. That is the cost, not the burn. The Sunday afternoons you will never get back. Only God can see everything. Your mother tells you that night, tucking the rosary into your small hands for the first time. You don't understand it yet. You will, eventually, understand it too well. There is a photograph from that year. Your mother keeps it on the mantle for the rest of her life, of you in the oversized cassock, one candle in each hand, squinting into the sun outside the church door. Don Marco is behind you, one hand resting on your shoulder like he already knows something you don't. You will not understand for another 30 years that the photograph is the last one taken of you, looking like nothing has been asked of you yet. Level 2. The Seminarian. You are 18 when the letter comes. Accepted, Pontifical Seminary, Rome. One of 40 out of 310 applicants that year. Your mother reads the letter twice at the kitchen table before she says anything, and when she does, her voice cracks on the word Rome, like it's a country she'll never visit, which, you will learn later, it nearly is. The seminary is 640 kilometers north of Santo Stefano. Latin conjugations before breakfast. Canon law until your eyes blur. A narrow iron bed, a crucifix bolted to plaster, a single window facing a courtyard where 39 other boys pace the same gravel loop at dusk, each one carrying the same private question and none of them asking it aloud. There is a girl. Her name is Costanza. She works the counter at the Tabaccaria 2 streets from the seminary gate, and for 11 months you find reasons to buy stamps you don't need. You write her a letter instead of saying it to her face. You are already being trained for that particular cowardice, and you slide it under her door on a Thursday in November, and you do not go back to that street again. The rosary goes in the drawer of the iron bed. You tell yourself it's temporary. Only God can see everything. You write to your mother that Christmas because you have run out of your own words, and hers are the only ones that still fit. She writes back a single line. Then let him see how tired you look and rest. You do not rest. You never really learn how. Years later, you will hear that Costanza married a mechanic from Bari, had 3 children, and still works the same tabaccaria counter on weekends. You will look her up exactly once, on a computer in the seminary library at 1 a.m., and close the browser before the page finishes loading, as if closing it fast enough could undo the 11 months, the letter, the street you never walk down again. 39 other boys paced the same gravel loop that year. By ordination, only 22 remain. No one ever says out loud what happens to the other 17. You learn not to ask. Level 3. The Deacon. Ordination as a deacon comes at 24 in a cathedral in Naples that seats 2,000, though only 40 people are there to watch you lie face down on cold marble for the litany of the saints. Your mother is one of them. She is 51 now, and her hands shake slightly when she pins the new stole to your shoulder, the first tremor you notice, though you don't let yourself name it yet. Your first assigned parish is Sant'Agnese, in a housing block on the edge of the city, 4,200 registered souls, one leaking roof, and a confessional with a curtain instead of a door because the old one rotted through in 2019. The first confession you ever hear is a woman, 43, who tells you, in a voice so flat it frightens you more than tears would, exactly what her husband does to her on Saturday nights. You are 24 years old. You have no training for this. You have only the absolution, the same 11 Latin words for her as for a boy who skipped Mass. You give her the words. It is the only thing you have. That is the cost of level 3. Sleep. Real sleep. You start waking at 3 a.m., hearing 11-word absolutions repeat themselves against sins that 11 words were never built to hold. Only God can see everything, you tell yourself in the dark, and for the first time, the sentence does not comfort you. It accuses you. Level 4. The Parish Priest. At 30, you get your own parish, San Rocco, 1,200 families, a bell tower missing 3 tiles since a storm in 2027 that the diocese still hasn't paid to fix. You learn to be a plumber, an accountant, a marriage counselor, and a man who can make 40 euros of collection plate money stretch across a heating bill of 210. You are good at it. People start calling you Don, the way they called Don Marco back home, and something in you settles. For 1 full year, level 4 feels like the answer instead of a rung. Then it's Holy Week again, 11 years after the burned thumb, and the phone rings during the Maundy-Thursday foot washing. Your mother, 62, has had a stroke, alone, in the kitchen where she read your acceptance letter. The hospital is 4 hours away by train. There are 300 people waiting for you to wash their feet in front of the altar. You stay. You wash the feet. You catch the last train after midnight, and she is unconscious by the time you arrive, her rosary still looped twice around her left hand, the cracked bead facing up, as if she'd been holding it toward the door. She survives. She will never fully speak again. That is the cost of level 4. Not your time, hers. The 4 hours you traded for a ritual and can never trade back. You move her into the rectory's small guest room so you can care for her yourself between masses. For 8 months, you learn to feed a woman who once fed you, to rethread a rosary through fingers that no longer close on their own. She still comes to the 3rd pew every morning, in a wheelchair now, pushed by an altar boy who reminds you, uncomfortably, of a boy who once caught fire and didn't flinch. She never says only God can see everything again. She doesn't need to. By then, you're the one saying it to her. Level 5. The Monsignor. At 40, the bishop calls you to Rome. A desk in the vicariate, purple piping on the cassock, the title Monsignor, stitched into your mail before you've earned a single gray hair for it. The work is zoning permits, restoration budgets, correspondence about a leaking basilica roof measured now in millions of euros instead of 40 at a time. You are good at rooms. You are good at making 8 cardinals agree on a paragraph. You have not seen your mother in 11 weeks when the second call comes. Not a stroke this time, her heart. And this time, there is no train fast enough. You are in a meeting about roof tiles when she dies. 4 hours pass before anyone tells you, because no one in that room knows to interrupt a meeting for a woman in a village of 340 people. You arrive at the house to find it already still. The rosary is on the kitchen table, 59 beads, the cracked one closest to her folded hands, as if she'd set it down mid-sentence. Only God can see everything, the parish priest tells you at the funeral, meaning to comfort you. You do not correct him. You only think, then he saw me in that room, choosing tiles over her, and said nothing. That is the cost of level 5, the last 4 hours spent in the wrong room forever. Level 6, the bishop. Consecration comes at 48. Your own diocese now, 400 parishes, a cathedral with your name read aloud in the Roman canon every Sunday. Your hands, holding the crozier for the first time, shake, not with age. You notice it and you do not tell anyone. The first real test of the office isn't spiritual. It's Father Antonio, 71, the priest who taught you Latin conjugations at 19, the man who wrote your seminary recommendation. And an audit shows he has been quietly moving parish funds into his sister's care home bills for 6 years. You transfer him. Quietly, before Rome can make it loud. He does not speak to you again. The seminary boy who once loved him becomes, in one afternoon, the bishop who filed him. Loyalty and office cannot both survive in the same hand. You choose office. You tell yourself the diocese needed it. Only God can see everything, you say at his farewell mass, and for the first time you hear how the sentence can be used as a shield instead of a comfort, for whoever's holding it. That is the cost of level 6, the last man who knew you before the collar. The diocese thanks you for handling it with discretion. Discretion, you learn, is the word the institution uses for silence it approves of. You are consecrated in a cathedral seating 4,000, wearing a mitre that costs more than Father Antonio's entire care home debt. And you do not miss the arithmetic of that even as you shake 3,000 hands afterward. You visit him once at his sister's house 11 months later. He offers you coffee. Neither of you drinks it. You leave after 4 minutes and you do not go back. Level 7, the Cardinal. At 58, you kneel in the Sistine Chapel and receive the red hat, the Galero, 99 centimeters wide, a color the Church calls the blood of martyrs, though nobody in the room says that part aloud. You are given a titular church in Rome you will visit twice a year and an office in the Secretariat with a door that locks from the inside. Behind that door is an archive, 41 years of files on clergy misconduct across 3 continents, sealed under a classification you now hold the only key to. Your job, unofficially, unwritten anywhere, is to make sure the files that would collapse public trust stay exactly where they are. You read 11 of them the first week. You do not sleep for 4 nights. Then you close the cabinet and you learn, the way every man in that office eventually learns, to close it faster the next time. You still say Mass every morning. Your hands shake now when you elevate the host, visibly, so the altar server has started reaching out quietly in case you drop it. You do not. Only God can see everything, you whisper at the altar, and this time it is neither comfort nor accusation. It is simply true, and it is the loneliest sentence you have ever said. That is the cost of level 7, your own name in your own mouth no longer meaning what it did at 9 years old. The titular church assigned to you is Santa Maria in Traspontina, a 9-minute walk from your office, and you visit it exactly 4 times in 6 years. Twice for photographs, twice because you couldn't sleep and had nowhere else the guards would let you walk unaccompanied at that hour. You keep a single photograph in your desk drawer, yourself at 9, 1 candle in each hand, squinting into the sun. You do not know why you kept it. You look at it more often than you'd admit to anyone with a key to that office. Level 8, the Camerlengo. You are named the one who administers the church in the gap between one pope and the next. The office exists for exactly one purpose, and everyone who holds it hopes never to use it until the night you are called to a bedroom in the Apostolic Palace at 2 a.m. and told the Holy Father, a man you have served for 9 years, has perhaps 40 minutes left. You call his name 3 times, softly, as tradition requires, to confirm what the machines already know. He does not answer the 3rd time. You seal the papal study yourself, by hand, with red ribbon and your own signet ring, the way it has been done since before your country existed. Then you take the fisherman's ring from his hand, still warm, and you break it with a small hammer kept for exactly this, so no one can ever again seal a document in his name. 90 cardinals will arrive within the week. You will speak to almost none of them as a friend. You have none left to speak to. Only God can see everything, someone says to you at the funeral mass, and you nod, because by now you have run out of any other reply. You do not remember the last time someone asked how you were rather than what needed sealing next. That is the cost of level 8. Every remaining person in the room is a functionary. So, by now, are you. Level 9. The Pope. The white smoke rises at 6:04 p.m. on the 5th ballot. 118 cardinals applaud a name that, in 11 seconds, stops being yours. You are given a new name, a white cassock in 3 sizes because no one yet knows your measurements, and a balcony with 200,000 people beneath it, all of them certain they finally know you. None of them do. You have not chosen a meal, a route, or a door for yourself in 6 years by the time you notice you've stopped trying to. Every hallway you walk has already been walked twice by men checking it for you. You cannot go to a market. You cannot sit in a church pew unrecognized the way your mother sat in the 3rd pew for 40 years asking nothing of anyone. Your hands shake constantly now, in front of cameras that are trained not to linger on it. Doctors have a name for it. You've stopped asking what the name is. At night, alone in an apartment with 14 rooms, you take out the rosary, 59 beads, the cracked one worn smooth now by 2 lifetimes of thumbs, and you say the only sentence that has survived every level intact. Only God can see everything. For the first time since you were 9, you say it and mean nothing but the plain, terrible comfort of it, that somewhere, something is finally watching closely enough to understand what all of this cost. That is the cost of level 9, a name that isn't yours, in a life no one is allowed to enter, watched by everyone and known by no one at all. Once a year, in private, you ask a young priest from the vicariate, one you've never met before and will likely never see again, to hear your confession. Because a pope's confessor is chosen new each time so that no single man ever holds too much of you. You tell him about a village of 340 people. He does not know what you mean. You do not explain further. 200,000 people gather below your window every Sunday at noon, and you learn to lift the same hand at the same angle so it reads the same in every photograph forever to people who will never once see your actual face up close. Level 10. The Retired Pontiff. You resign at 81. Heart, hands, a body that has been shaking for 2 decades and finally insists on being heard. The world calls it historic. Within the walls, it is simpler. A small monastery inside the Vatican gardens. 4 rooms. A garden you're permitted to walk for 40 minutes if the weather allows. Your successor visits twice a year. The cardinals who once needed your signature stop needing anything from you at all, and you learn, slowly, the way you learned every other cost, that the silence after power is heavier than power itself. You are not forgotten. You are worse than forgotten, remembered correctly as a man who is no longer required. Some mornings, you sit by the window with the rosary, 59 beads, the cracked one under your thumb, and your hands shake so badly now that you drop it, the way you never once dropped a candle at 9 years old. A young sister picks it up for you without a word, the way you once picked up a burning wax without flinching, a whole life ago, in a village of 340 people that no longer remembers your name either. Only God can see everything. You say to no one, and for the first time, the sentence is simply true, and simply enough, and simply all that's left. Somewhere, 640 kilometers south, a bell rings at 6:15 in the morning in a village of 340 people. A boy, 9 years old, rolls up sleeves 2 sizes too big and pins them with a safety pin from his mother's coat pocket. She sits in the third pew, left side, a rosary wrapped twice around her hand. They'll figure it out. They always do. The cycle continues.